Hello, welcome to Quackalope, and today we are bringing you a right for you, wrong for you on
Parks
by Keymaster Games. This is one of my favorite games that I discovered last year, and one that I actually wrote off initially. I didn't back the Kickstarter, I waited till it arrived into stores, and I actually waited until Kathleen, the owner of my local game store, told me that it was right after Wingspan for her in her top favorite lists of the year.
Then you later introduced it to me.
I did show it to you.
And I was blown away by it as well.
And you ended up trading for your own personal copy of it.
Yep.
So if you're getting into this right for you, wrong for you video, like most of our right for you, wrong for you videos, we are taking a game that we enjoy, breaking it down into 7 different factors that we consider when adding a game into our gaming library to help you determine if Parks by Keymaster Games is
right or wrong for you.
Exactly. So those 7 factors that we're going to be breaking this game down into are going to be an overview of the game, a breakdown of the theme, a discussion around the accessibility, a deep dive into the gameplay and what stands out to us, then a look at the modes of play, whether or not this game is innovative to any degree, and then finally the price point, what you can expect to pay for this game, and if we think it's worth it at that price point.
Yeah.
Along with that, 2 things to get to before we swing into this game. First off, this game is currently on Kickstarter.
Yes, it is.
Parks Memories is their new game. They use the same 52 series art prints and introduce a memory and matching element into the game. And I don't like memory games. I really genuinely don't. Like, I have a really hard time remembering things. We've seen that displayed in some of our gameplay videos. Parks Memories is one that I'm going to look at putting onto my shelf. I had a chance to test run it down at TantrumCon, and I genuinely really enjoyed it. It gives me enough memory mediation, enough opportunity to feel like I'm crafting a strategy, and like I don't have to try to memorize this grid of parks that are in front of me, or this grid of face-down tiles that are in front of me. So it was really nice. It played really well. The special powers, the kind of advanced mode of the game. If you like memory and matching games, it's one you're going to want to pay attention to. If you don't like memory or matching games, but like us, you try to make sure your shelf has an opportunity for every type of title, that's why I'm considering kind of really giving it a closer look.
Yeah, you definitely sang its praises as soon as you played it.
Yeah, it might be the memory game on my shelf, because I get rid of all of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's just the reality of it. Lastly, the other thing that I want to touch on before we swing into this, if you're enjoying this video, if you're enjoying kind of the content we make, the B-roll that we've layered at the front, and the discussion that we're going to have throughout the rest of the video, there's 2 things you can do to help us. First off, you can hit that subscribe button down below. The reality is we are a small channel. We may look like we're professionally produced, but that's just...
It's a one-man team.
Yeah,
here.
I mean, it's like, you're my co-host, but like I'm editing and producing and filming and conceptualizing the majority of the content on the page. So a major thing you can do to really help us out is to hit that subscribe button. It really does matter. It not only tells YouTube and the algorithm gods that, you appreciate the content we're making, but it also allows companies like Keymaster Games to know that we produce content that matters to you, the viewer. And so that's really important for us.
Yeah.
Along with that, if you're already subscribed, the other thing that you can do is you can share this video out. YouTube will push it to whatever kind of position it can. We'll share it across our social media, and Keymaster said they're going to send it out to some of their fan base. But honestly, our shares really aren't quite as powerful as yours. So if you enjoy this, go onto the social media pages that you watch. Tag us, tag Keymaster Games, share it with your friends, with your family, with your local gaming group. Let them know that we're doing something, at least slightly different in the space. Not entirely different. Like, we're not reinventing the wheel.
It's our flavor to it. It's our
We're
take.
just making it prettier.
Yes.
So, with that being said, I gave you a little peek inside the box there. I usually do these box spins, and it's just like brown cardboard on the other side.
Speaking of things that might not be incredibly ours.
Yeah, I'm not. I can't do that. Let's go ahead and get into this right for you, wrong for you video of Parks. And Jan, let's start with the basic question. What is Parks?
This is a set collection game.
So when I was 13, my grandfather took me on the Appalachian Trail.
Okay.
We hiked from the Penmar, Maryland line, so Penmar, Pennsylvania, Maryland line, all the way up to Mount Katahdin, Maine in Baxter State Park. And then when I was 16 or 17, I went back, I left high school early and hiked from the Georgia, Springer Mountain, Georgia, all the way up into Tennessee before damaging my knee and having to come off the trail.
Yeah, okay.
And so parks for me is a little bit of nostalgia.
It's memories.
I mean, to some degree it is. Like, you're playing through and collecting and going on this journey to pull, you know, all of these beautiful little illustrations. So for me, in a lot of ways, parks is these stories, these journeys. It's, you know, Mammoth Cave down in Kentucky where I grew up. It's the Yellowstone National Park. My dad took us on a journey out there
and
when
you
I was
know
about
what?
14.
I also think that for people that aren't maybe that privy to parks here in the States, even me, I come from Puerto Rico, so I never got to experience Mammoth Cave. I never got to experience any of those trails that you got to. But I feel like I'm on a journey through this game because of how you explore it. Every single piece here is almost like a tale of America in one way or another. And I think that's fascinating. And speaking a little bit to what the game is actually about.
Oh, do we have to get to that at
yes,
some point?
I would say so.
Okay.
You're essentially collecting pieces that are going to be contained in these containers, and the amount of pieces that you take will be able to fulfill different cards that are on a tableau. Okay? So depending on how quickly you move through the trail, you're able to pick up cards in a particular order. However, the trick here is that you have 2 meeples that you're able to move forward as much as you want. So if you want to go ahead and go to the end of the trail, you can, but that's not always the case, because as Jesse has been kind of like alluding to, kind of want to stop and smell the roses.
It's more about the journey than the destination in a lot of these ways. So letting you know what components we have out here on the game board, you have your travel mat here.
Yep.
This is a little bit late in game the way we have it set up, but you're moving your hikers down this journey doing things like collecting resources.
Yep.
You have sun, you have water, you have the ability to take a picture at a vista, which gives you a victory point.
Yep.
And that's the end goal of this, to score victory points.
And theme-wise, what I really like about it is that, for example, here you're looking at the sun, but the reason why it's sun tokens is because you are taking in the sun and the vista of that valley, of that space. And the same here with the water, and the same here with the mountains. It's a memory that you're taking with you. Yeah. That's the concept behind it.
You're carrying these things along the road. And along the way, you have the opportunity to spend those resources to experience some of, you know,
the more unique settings.
Beautiful, beautiful illustrations of the national parks throughout our country, the places that I have a lot of love and fond memories for, and the places that I think we as a country and as a community should take a lot of pride in. And this game takes pride in that.
Yeah.
So up top here, you have your kind of items that you can collect, the parks you can visit. You pay the resource there in order to take it into your tableau, and that scores at the end of the game.
Yep.
You also have a few special abilities that you can do. For instance, at the start of every season, you're going to flip a card letting you know what type of season it's going to be. That will populate this track with different types of resources that are bonuses based on where you move your meeple. You also have the chance to have things called canteens or to take gear. Those are going to mediate or change the way that you are using your resources or collecting these park tiles up top. The whole point of this game is to go on a journey, taking your time, enjoying the trail for as long as possible before the season's over.
Yeah.
Moving your hikers down to the bottom so that you can gather experiences, gather resources, gather items, and then reflect on those memories. So that's the general overview of the game. It is a point-to-point movement game with resource management and set collection.
Yep.
And it's not aggressively heavy.
No, not at all.
A little bit heavier than average in
It's very
some
welcoming,
ways,
yeah.
but it is very welcoming and a game that I am always ready to get on the table.
For sure.
So, if this sounds like the type of game you might be interested in,
this might be right for you.
it might be right for you. Let's touch on the next aspect. An aspect that is very salient to me when it comes to games in general. I am a theme-first buyer, player, owner, everything. And if I haven't already hinted, Parks blows this theme away.
Amazing.
It's a game that is full of visceral memories and icons and places I've actually been to.
And like I said, I haven't even been to these places, but I want to go
We'll
now.
fix that. We'll fix
exactly.
that. We'll end up doing a Quackalope Tours America.
We'll just grab some of these cards and be like, hey, we're here right now, right?
We
can
seriously
do that.
should. If we ever get the opportunity to do a Quackalope Tours America, you can bet we will both be on the road in like a single day.
Oh, yeah.
That being said, the hard part for me, the part that I really want to dig into here, is how the theme reinforces the gameplay.
Yeah, and the mechanics, etc.
Because here's the reality. I wrote off Parks the first time it was a Kickstarter. I didn't even dig into the page. I'm a little ashamed of it, if I'm going to be honest. I saw beautiful artwork, and I thought to myself,
that's probably all it is.
They're selling artwork.
Yep.
They're selling postcards. Interesting. Like, it's just a way for whoever commissioned this, you know, the postal company or whatever, to resell the stuff that they bought.
Yep.
And I was very wrong.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. The theme is clear, but how is the theme displayed in the game you're playing?
Well, I think we kind of touched on that a little bit. You have two individuals that are trekking, right, that are going through these. Each of these is a panorama, it's a moment, it's a sliver of their journey.
Yeah.
And every time you stop at a place, you collect a resource that is reminiscent or that is integral to that experience that they went through.
Well, and the interesting part is these areas are more generic. You have a lookout, a valley, a river, a vista, a mountain, a waterfall, but the items you're collecting from them are integral to the type that you're paying here. So for instance, I have the Arches National Park, a mountain in Tucson.
Yep.
That's exactly what that location is. Or the Shenandoah National Park, a forest and a mountain. That's what you saw when you were there.
Yeah.
So if you went on this journey to get those resources, you were at this location the
visiting.
whole time. I find that really, really interesting.
It's fascinating, and the way that they've minimized the parks into something that it's so easily relatable is fascinating. Even in a little detail that I love, you actually have the state of where you can find that park, and you have some information right there. So as we said, sure, maybe from an external perspective, this is trying to just sell artwork, but what it's really trying to do, it's incentivize and motivate the country to go and explore their country.
And I cannot wait to take this game back to my grandparents to show them and hopefully convince them to sit down and play it.
I just want to play my copy right now with my wife. That's all I want to do, really.
That's totally fair. So if, like me, you have a lot of nostalgia for the national parks throughout the United States.
Or like me, that you haven't had the opportunity, but now you kind of really want to.
Yeah.
This game...
It might be right for you. Just a little bit.
Tiny.
That being said, we need to swing over into the accessibility of this game.
Oh,
Who does it play? How easy is it to get to the table? Like, what items are there when it comes to tabling this?
Well, you kind of already hit it on the head. You can take this to your grandma and play it and enjoy it.
Yeah,
right? You can take this to your friend, to any friends that hasn't played a board game, and they'll get it.
I don't think it's quite intro gamer level, though.
Well, I think it depends on how you approach it, right?
Yeah.
So set collection is very widely known as usually an introductory genre into board games, right?
Sure.
You are trying to collect similar pieces in order to get other pieces. So the idea that you're trying to collect small vistas in order to visit a park, I feel is so easy to grasp that I would say that this could be an introductory game into kind of like a almost initial mid-tier game, but not really, because this still, to me, falls in that first area of games, which is intro, etc., simpler.
I think it's on the edge, and I have showed it to people who don't play many games, as one that I just wanted to table, and they were over, right? But I don't think it's quite intro level. I wouldn't sell it to someone as their very first game ever, and I think a lot of people are buying it as their very first game ever because of how beautiful and striking it is.
Yeah.
And I think some people have been a little shocked or confused by that. They open up, they see all the components, the items, the way that things chain together. There is strategy here.
No, this is a gamer's game.
Yeah.
It is. That doesn't necessarily imply that people that never played it cannot learn it.
No. I think they can. And I don't think it's too big of a lift for them.
Correct.
That being said, for a gamer, there's enough strategy and complexity here to keep me entertained and keep me interested in the game. And that's not always true in those intro-level games.
Correct.
Some of those intro-level games just kind of fall flat once you understand what you're doing. It's a random draw or it's a random resource.
It's a random anything. That immediately just takes you out.
More or less, and they can be fun to play.
Correct.
With my aunt and my nephew and, you know.
But you don't want to play it. You just play it to bond with your family members.
To be with the people that you love.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Of course not.
I'd play this just to win.
Yes, exactly. That's the thing. So I feel it's accessible for people that want to give a real try into games without it being something too big of a hurdle to get across.
Yeah.
I feel this is accessible for just gamers that are trying to learn something new quickly and efficiently. You can table this game from the start, right, without just reading the rulebook once, probably in 20 to 30 minutes max.
20 to 30 minutes.
And you can start playing everything, and you can start looking at the strategies and looking at how you can approach this. I feel it's very welcoming of a lot of different types of people and anybody that just wants to enjoy it as well.
And another element of that, the two things that I want to touch on. First off, it plays up to 5.
Yes.
Which is good. I mean, that's a good range. You can play 1 to 5. You can table about any group with that size.
Yep.
Next, they took the time to make incredible inserts.
Oh, yeah.
The core box and the component trays pull right out, so you don't have to worry about organizing anything, putting anything away, putting stuff back into baggies. This is ready to table almost the moment you get it out of the box.
Yep.
You got a little bit of setup, you got a tiny bit of shuffling to do, but really...
And you're ready to go.
And you're about ready to go. So if you think you can table this for 1 to 5, if you think it's a game that is around kind of the complexity but still simplicity that you and your gaming group are looking for, you have maybe some new gamers you want to introduce something like this to, who are nostalgic for the theme, but maybe haven't played games before.
This might be right for you.
Just might. Let's move on to the gameplay. And we've already done an overview of the game.
Yeah.
So we don't need to go through how to play or break down anything specific. What we're looking for here are elements of the gameplay that either make this right for you or wrong for you. Specifics that tend to stand out.
Well, I really like the way that there's a light level of tableau building, right? You're able to gain certain powers throughout your journey. You're able to specialize in certain collection of resources throughout. So for example, we haven't really touched on this, the gear cards, they give you new ways of interacting with elements. The canteens give you kind of like a reserved resource that you can use at any time. And so as the game goes out, and as you keep going and evolving through this, it's almost like your hiker is becoming more intelligent. They're understanding how exactly they should approach these mountains and these valleys and these rivers and these vistas.
They're getting more out of the experience they're having. Yeah,
they're more
so your
salient.
canteens are going to be resources, or they're going to actually transform resources. Oftentimes, a single water drop can become any variety of items. And these gear cards are going to do things like this one here. If you brought a journal with you, then parks with a mountain cost 1 less to visit.
Yep.
So it just lowers the cost. It means you got more out of your experience. It didn't take as much from you in order to bring that memory home.
Yep.
An element of gameplay that really stands out to me is how you're moving down this track. So this will grow by 1 every year or every season. You'll play through 4 seasons in a year. And you can move each hiker as far as you would like. So this guy here, like Jan said earlier, could skip the whole way to the end if he wanted, but he really doesn't.
Yeah.
The trick of this is going to be maximizing how much you get out of this journey you're going on, moving as slowly as you can while still making sure someone isn't blocking the location you want to be on. Because you can never double up on your own person or on your opponents. If you do double up, you can flip this, extinguish a campfire. That's the one time you can use it to give yourself a chance to maybe revisit this mountain.
Yeah, and this is actually a mechanic that I've seen in a game called Glenmore, which as soon as I played it, it's almost this idea of a rondelle where you can also push forward as much as you can. I loved it because you have options. You are ultimately the decider of your fate in that game. Do you want to move your first meeple all the way to the end and then slowly make your way through the rest of it? You totally have the opportunity to do that and explore that as much as you want. And the reason why you're jumping forward and you're doing things which we don't have displayed here is that there are going to be resources and there's going to be different abilities that you can take advantage of immediately before anybody else.
Yeah, that push and pull. I mean, there's going to be an opportunity to do things like take the camera early or late game. There's going to be an opportunity to get that park that matters for your end scoring condition because there are hidden scoring objectives you might be trying to fulfill. There's going to be a scattering of resources. Maybe you just want to be mean and try to block Jan from visiting the mountains.
Because I'm about to get that resource and score a 3 or 4 point card.
And the mountains are really valuable here because there's only one of them on the journey.
Correct. And which is another thing that's fascinating about this particular title is that the variability, the way that tableau changes all the time, it's fascinating. You never know what you're going to expect. You never know what type of journey you're going to have when you open this up the first time.
You know what might be on that path. You don't know the order it's going to come out, or, you know, because you're adding tiles, when some of those extra abilities are going to show up.
Yep.
So those are the 2 things that stand out when it comes to gameplay that we really enjoy. Are there any elements of this game that maybe would make this game not right for someone when it comes to the gameplay?
Well, I think at the end of the day, if you're not a fan of set collection games in general, you just don't find any type of joy from that game style, I'm not sure if Parks will completely change the genre for you. I think this is a set collection game that does set collection extremely well. Like, this is one of the best expressions of that genre that I've seen in a bit, right?
Well, and touching on the stuff we already talked on, this track here can be frustrating and mean as well.
Yeah.
We enjoy that. We don't mind that in our games. But the strategy of it could be as nice as just going on a journey, but could be as cutthroat as my meeple's staying here until it's forced to move, because there's no way I'm giving you sun.
Correct.
Or I'm coming down here to the bottom to go ahead and get an advantage, whether it's the first player token, steal the camera from you for an extra victory point.
How that horrible term, hate draft. Take a card you don't really need so that the other person can take it.
This game gives you an opportunity to be mean, and I don't think it intends to.
No, not at all.
I don't think it's the point. But because there's enough strategy to actually play this game strategically and feel like you won, that means there's an opportunity to frustrate or mess with other people's strategies.
As we said, it's a gamer's game.
Yeah, so if you want a game that doesn't have you interacting in the same space and potentially getting in each other's way, that could also be an element that makes it wrong for you.
Correct.
That being said, if the parts of gameplay that stand out to us seem like something that might shine through on your table, it might be right for you.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and move on to modes of play. How does this play? What does it play best at? Where do we want to see it on the table?
So I feel this has a sweet spot between 3 and 4 players, although I've happily tabled it at any player count, really. As a meditative experience, I would say that you could totally table this at 1. I'm not sure if it'll be the same style of game, right? I haven't personally played the first player, but I can tell that this would be a very relaxing moment in my day where I just want to look at something beautiful and challenge my brain a little bit.
Now, you said you like it at 3 to 4. I personally like it at 2 to 3. I think this is a really solid 2-player game. I've always had a good time pulling it out. A 1-to-1 interaction with a friend. You're solving the same puzzle. You're not in each other's way quite as much as you might be with a heavier player count. And just the experience or the journey or the conversations that you have over the course of this game are really quite lovely.
I personally love the traffic jams that occur when you have more players. I tend to be a player that enjoys adaptation at my table. I like to challenge myself every time I'm going to something, and whenever I have to challenge myself to see how I'm going to resolve a certain problem, that's when I'm having the most fun.
Yeah.
And that happens when you have more people with you.
So if you're looking for a game that, as far as we're concerned, 2 to 4 is good for a table sitting, but can play up to 5 if you have that friend that shows up out of nowhere, or can be an experience at 1 if you want to kind of min-max your approach to this game, or just kind of experience it and get it to the table one more time.
Yeah, it
still might be right for you. With that being said, let's cut into one of our most controversial segments. Innovation.
Yeah.
This is a hard one for us to talk about because in the conversation about innovation, we're taking in our own context, the games we've played, a lot in our library, and also our experience or age in the board game space itself. What's came out when and how they all slot into this time position of innovation is hard for us to judge. We still think the conversation is very important and worth having. Yep. That being said, we'd love to actually have that conversation with you down below. So this innovation question, we usually ask this at the end of the video, but I'm going to put a plug in now. Leave a comment down below letting us know if you think Parks is innovative. If so, how? If not, does it matter? That's the question.
And of course, we've had a lot of different debates on what innovation should be, etc. We also want to hear about that. We would want to know your thoughts. And speaking about Parks,
so for your stance,
I would say, so this is tricky because I feel that Parks is innovative in a way, but not maybe in the way that people are hoping that I'd say. I think graphically and aesthetically, this game is another level. There's been very little games where I've seen the level of artistry and implementation here that this game has achieved.
So what they've done with the licensing in this game, I think is absolutely innovative. I mean, the way that they took something that was created by another platform for kind of worldwide distribution and thought about a way to engineer a good game from it is really quite remarkable, and something that I know we've seen in other games, but not to this degree. It's hard for me because I don't like when games use real-world mediums as elements in their games. I don't want screenshots from your favorite movie. I don't want, even if you're playing a Lord of the Rings game, I don't want the actual Lord of the Rings movie characters on the cards that I'm playing with. This is different. Because it's handcrafted, it's designed, it is artwork that all fits together and celebrates this beautiful vista. And it's artwork that's handcrafted and designs and all fits together, and it doesn't feel like it didn't belong here.
And you know what I think is even more remarkable is the art direction in this, because these are prints, right, that other people made, some artists all around the world, everybody collaborated, but everything here, all of the graphic design in this is spot on, and it works so well. It's a cohesive and gorgeous package, and Keymaster just did such an incredible job in interweaving every single element of this.
It would have been easy to make this muddled and ugly. It would have been easy to crop these pieces of art in a way that made them confusing or took away the splendor. And they didn't.
Nope.
And the fact that they didn't, because if they did, we would have talked about it. We would have, it would have been on everyone's radar as like the biggest mistake that's ever happened to the art world.
Yes.
But the fact that they didn't, we kind of overlook it, or we can to some degree, because it's such a natural flow. The iconography, the way things are laid out, draws your attention exactly where it should be. Without anything really taking away from it.
It's really impressive, honestly.
It's cool.
It's a masterwork of how to present a game. And how to make that game more approachable and attractive to potential buyers. This is the type of game, like you said, has the capacity of bridging the gap.
I think it
of
absolutely
grabbing
does.
the attention of people that don't even care about a game.
I think there will be people watching our video, even up to this point, who are not gamers.
Probably.
They're just interested in what is this beautiful,
this.
Yeah.
Because it's so amazing. And this too, like everything for me is just incredible. And in that way, I would say that this game has done something truly special in 2019, right? It's done something that so many people try to get towards and just they always maybe shy from the mark. What I will say about the innovation, because I remember that we had somebody in the comments actually reference how a game can be innovative without necessarily having innovative mechanics with the combination of mechanics. I think what's innovative about this one is combining the theme of visiting parks in a way that's so easily and mechanically intuitive and that I can associate so easily towards. That is definitely innovative, because we've had Bosque and we've had trekking and we've had, I think it's like nationals or something similar to that, where we visited this area, we visited the parks, but never like this. This is the first time that we are trekking through the states and truly taking a second to appreciate the vista and appreciate and delve deeper within each of these locations. And I think that is definitely innovative. It might not be innovative mechanically, but the way that it weaves the theming of parks and America into a game, I definitely feel is something of brilliance.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm not going to argue with you. I think there certainly could be something there. And ultimately, we want to have a discussion with you, the community. So if you agree with Jan, if you don't, let us know.
A lot of people don't, but it's okay.
That's true. Ultimately, though, if this comes across as something that might shine on your game table, if the innovation in artwork, style, graphic design, and potentially the innovation in just theme and gameplay combination is something you think would find a good home on your shelf,
it
might be right for you.
Yeah.
The last thing we want to look at, the big question of the day, is going to come down to the price point. Parks retails
at $49.
Right at $50. I bought it from retail. I bought it at Labyrinth here in Washington, D.C. I believe they are sold out, if not close to. I think it's been gone since before Christmas, if I'm going to be honest. And I picked it up because Kathleen told me this hasn't been easy to get. It's selling like crazy, and I probably won't have a shipment of it until the next printing. So if people are looking at it now, the only way to get your hands on this game, currently as it stands...
Oh, secondary market?
No. Kickstarter.
Oh, that's true. Right. But there will be a space in between that wait time,
There
right?
will be.
Yeah.
There will be. There'll be Kickstarter goes to reprint, then it'll take a few months down the road to actually get it into backers' hands. So...
But that's not the conversation we're trying to have. what we're trying to talk about is is $49
Yes.
right?
Is the
for
retail
this?
price correct for parks?
I would say so. The level of artistry, the quality of the components, although it might not be like crazy innovative, doesn't matter. They're excellent.
Sure.
Like these are nice cardstock cardboard pieces with excellent finishing. We have gorgeous color. We have good linen cards here. We have excellent insorts, wooden meeples of so many different types. And it's a great game too. Like if you want to cut a few dollars short, sure, whatever. But I feel that what they're asking for is definitely reasonable.
I haven't regretted, ever since the first time I tabled it after purchasing it, I haven't regretted the money I've spent on it.
Not at all.
And so if you've watched this point in the video, you kind of already know if it's right for you or wrong for you.
Yeah.
That's the hope of this video. That's at least the discussion we were trying to have. And sometimes we'll hit this point and a game will be shockingly underpriced for what we think it could be worth. More often than not, however, we'll hit this point in our thought process on buying a game, and the price won't quite justify what we're getting in the box,
Yeah.
right? I don't think that's the case here with Parks.
So if this conversation about pricing and where pricing falls within this sounds like something that might be up your alley,
Well, it might be right for you.
Yeah.
And that being said, if this discussion that we've just had, the B-roll, the argument back and forth, the visuals, the conversation about the elements that make games right for us or wrong for us was intriguing to you, kept your attention, got you to this point in the video, well then this channel, this little Quackalope
Honk.
and Goose might in fact also be right for you.
Oh yeah.
If that's
So-
the case, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know your thoughts on innovation, on price point, on any of the elements we discussed here when it comes to parks. Whatever you do, though, remember to do the important thing.
Get out and play some games.
We'll see you next time. Thank you.